Do you understand the profoundly unsettling nature of certain sniping techniques and the extremes to which they were taken in specific conflicts? Are you truly aware of the reasons snipers were often summarily executed following their capture, with female snipers facing particularly harsh treatment? Therefore, let us journey back to the very origins of the sniper's somber military vocation and trace its evolution forward from that point. The initial conception of a specialized marksman slowly materialized during the 18th and 19th centuries. Furthermore, the term sniper finds its roots in British military slang from the colonial era in India. The act to snipe referred to hunting the small, swift snipe bird, a pursuit demanding considerable skill in aiming. Consequently, the designation sniper was bestowed upon sharpshooters proficient in striking challenging targets from extended ranges. However, recall that this was a period when the majority of smoothbore muskets struggled to hit any target reliably beyond approximately 80 yards, not to mention at greater distances. Military forces depended on concentrated volleys of fire and particular tactical arrangements to employ these weapons productively. They would assemble soldiers in compact formations and delay firing until within practical range of the adversary to unleash a coordinated salvo, ensuring at least some musket balls would strike their intended marks. Nonetheless, a dramatic transformation was imminent. The American Revolutionary War provided the initial genuine instances of sniping, as newly developed rifles featuring elongated rifled barrels and superior ammunition emerged, delivering markedly enhanced precision compared to earlier muskets. These rifles were, at that time, exceedingly costly and challenging to procure, necessitating hand-crafted construction. Essentially, they were artistic masterpieces, yet when operated by adept individuals, they could impose damage upon the enemy far surpassing that of any ordinary assault. This resulted from several factors. Primarily, while a lone sniper was incapable of annihilating an entire regiment, his meticulously selected shots aimed at the most crucial personnel actually inflicted substantially more severe harm than haphazard musket discharge. The secondary consequence, frequently neglected, was psychological. This aspect would greatly influence the severe handling that apprehended snipers would later endure. Snipers compelled enemy troops to remain perpetually anxious, questioning if a sniper occupied an area presumed to be secure and protected. Merely an occasional solitary shot, an individual abruptly collapsing deceased without warning, sufficed to implant that persistent dread in the consciousness of everyone present. Moreover, snipers personally engaged in certain repugnantly inventive ploys they would perpetrate against their foes, which you will learn about shortly. Subsequently, during the American Civil War, sniper conflict escalated to a terrifying magnitude previously unobserved in historical records. Combatants now possessed mini-ball ammunition, and rifled muskets saw widespread implementation, elevating the typical infantryman's effective range to 300 yards. Excellently crafted precision rifles grew more accessible, and the first dedicated, formally trained sharpshooter companies were established. These units mastered concealment and camouflage techniques and were instructed to identify the most high-value targets, such as officers, messengers, and artillery crews, to maximally disrupt enemy operations during engagements. Advanced rifles with hexagonal bore rifling could accurately engage targets well beyond half a mile, and even the earliest telescopic sights began to appear. Confederate sharpshooters genuinely terrorized Union forces, eliminating several high-ranking officers, exemplified by the famed shooting of General John Sedgwick from roughly 800 yards. The general dismissively remarked that they could not hit an elephant at that distance after being cautioned about snipers. Instants later, he was struck just beneath his left eye and killed. Confederate armies initiated the organization of dedicated sharpshooter battalions, selecting the finest marksmen from each regiment to constitute elite corps. They were granted liberty to roam the front lines and pursue opportunistic targets. They soon acquired Whitworth rifles in .451 caliber, equipped with telescopic sights capable of striking targets exceeding 1,000 yards, a feat that had earlier appeared unattainable. This frequently caused chaos in the minds of Union soldiers, yet it represented merely the commencement of what snipers would ultimately accomplish historically, and how extreme their methods would become. The entire world witnessed their capabilities in warfare, particularly for factions unable to prevail in a straightforward confrontation due to numerical or technological inferiority, such as guerrilla forces. However, the notion of elite sniper units for unspecified reasons entered a period of decline for several years. The principal European armies now fielded potent bolt-action rifles and improved propellants that granted every soldier an effective range nearing 1,000 yards, even utilizing iron sights, with full metal jacket bullets becoming standard. Battles continued to be predominantly determined by volley fire, bayonet assaults, and cavalry charges. Hence, training an individual specialist sniper seemed relatively unnecessary at that juncture. Nevertheless, this situation was poised to change radically when another conflict presented the chance for snipers to unleash their most dreadful tactics and claim tens of thousands of lives. This was the First World War. After a short phase of mobile warfare, newly invented machine guns and rapid-firing artillery entered the battlefield, and prevailing tactics proved utterly insufficient for this new technology. The war rapidly devolved into a gruesome stalemate in muddy trenches. No apparent solution existed, and various disparate tactics were attempted to break the deadlock. Sniping, naturally, was among them. It rendered the trench systems even more lethal, as shortly no one could safely elevate their head above ground level. German snipers indeed were the first to acquire that deadly notoriety. While the Allies were largely unprepared for the incoming developments, the Germans quickly deployed high-quality handcrafted precision rifles fitted with the world's most advanced contemporary optics. This was combined with elite marksmen who were hunters or rifle club participants in civilian life. Their keen vision and accuracy would eliminate any inattentive Allied soldier carelessly shaving or merely attempting to obtain water. The lethal cat-and-mouse game in the World War I trenches commenced, and now, for the first time in history, it was elevated to absurd extremes with disturbing yet brilliantly creative methods. You will understand my meaning. Initially, snipers would hide themselves within shell craters, ruins, or specially constructed fortified loopholes in the trench parapets, positions offering a clear view of enemy lines. Germans employed steel shields and double-layered helmets for their snipers. Yet to counter this, the British introduced their elephant guns to the front. Yet this was insignificant compared to what sniping was destined to become. Any soldier who inadvertently revealed himself for a fleeting moment became another cautionary tale about why one should not peer over sandbags and why periscopes became essential. But even then, they were not secure, because snipers mastered techniques of firing at trenches, causing bullets to ricochet downward, still striking the soldier even if shielded from a direct hit. A single well-situated sniper could inflict dozens of casualties in one day before being eliminated or compelled to retreat. In certain trench sectors, it was customary for approximately 10 soldiers daily to be shot by snipers. Initially, the only way to address a sniper causing chaos across an entire front section was to bombard the entire area of suspected location with a heavy artillery barrage. This would either kill him or force a temporary retreat and relocation. However, typically it was not long before he returned, or a replacement assumed his position. Snipers exerted a massive influence on morale and fostered a persistent sensation of being observed, even in the absence of an actual sniper opposite. Camouflage and optical technology continued to advance. Consequently, sniping soon descended into outright bizarre tactics that remained remarkably effective. Among the most renowned is the counterfeit dead horse. This wasn't just about constructing a fake dead horse and depositing it in no man's land. The trenches were under constant surveillance by both sides, attempting to detect any suspicious alteration absent the previous day. They were photographed daily and meticulously scrutinized. Accounts suggest the French pioneered this concept. They would await an opportune moment when an actual dead horse lay in no man's land. Then they would fabricate a realistic replica of paper and wood, meticulously painted, with a small, well-camouflaged aperture for a sniper's barrel. Under darkness, they would remove the real carcass, position the fake horse, and install the sniper. A concealed telephone cable extended back to the trench, enabling observation and reporting of enemy activities. The next day, everything appeared identical to the previous evening, at least to any observer from the opposite side. The sniper might even delay firing his first shot for an entire day to ensure his concealment was utterly foolproof. The identical